At the beginning of our quest, we are given a starter Pokemon. Once another Pokemon is caught, the starter may be retired, but it is often with this Pokemon that we learn friendship and trust. As such, even advanced trainers may still use their starter Pokemon, and they will often be the most powerful Pokemon on their respective teams. As you can see, I actually read that from Bulbapedia, but my point is that usually the starter Pokemon is a very important part of our Pokemon adventure, and sometimes it even defines it. A lot of my Pokemon memories are from my starters. So, in a few months from now, we will be seeing the new starter Pokemon in Pokemon X and Pokemon Y, Chespin, Fennekin, and Froakie. So before that happens, I thought I would rate the current 15 Pokemon starter lines. Now, we do need some rules. First rule, every line will be rated for its 3 evolutions. Second rule, starters like Pikachu or Eevee won't be included. Now I will check the Pokemon on some categories, like how they do in the anime, how strong are they in the game, the concept of the Pokemon, and the design, and pretty much my personal opinion on the Pokemon. But a warning. Since we all bond differently with our starter Pokemon, I might put your favorite on the bottom of the list. So please remember this list is personal, so if you don't like my choices, you could always leave the video. So now that we got that off the way, let's begin the countdown. Number 15. Tepig. First of all, people think it's so funny to nickname Tepig bacon or pork, so yeah, it's not funny. Now, let's go over his concept. It's a pig on fire. There has been a lot of pig Pokemon, so it's nothing too special. Now, I don't like Tepig's design. He's just, well, again, he's a pig, and he's orange, referring to his fire, and basically that's it. And Pignite's design is weak. He looks like an orange egg with legs and hands. And Embor, well, he turns to the Mega Fire Pig. Yeah, that's a species. Now, Embor has a better design than his 2 pre-evolutions, but still he looks like an obese pig, which he basically is, and he has weird fire around his neck. And basically the 3 designs of this line are just bad. I don't like them. Tepig is meh, Pignite is an ugly fat pig, and Embor is an even fatter pig that now has fire as a necklace. So yeah, I just don't like the concept and the design of these Pokemon. And yeah, I know Embor is a pretty strong battler and a strong Pokemon, but again, it's not enough just to be strong. All the starters are pretty strong. In the anime, Ash's Tepig evolves into Pignite, and that's basically it. I don't watch this season of the anime, but from what I saw, it's not something special. Oh yeah, and the most important thing about why Tepig is so low on the list is because it's a freaking firefighting 3rd in a row. Are you kidding me? So yeah, that's what I think. Tepig, bacon, pork, or whatever his name sucks. Next, number 14. Chikorita. So, Chikorita has a very interesting concept. It is based off a dinosaur, a sauropod. So yeah, it has a very promising concept, but then when we come to the design, it's very disappointing. Because, well, Chikorita is a small creature with green dots around its neck and a leaf on its head, but that's fine, it's a first evolution, so it can be small, cute, no problem. Then we go to Bayleaf. It changes its color to yellow, and now instead of dots around its neck, there are some leaves, and the leaf on its head is a bit bigger, so yeah, that's fine, I guess. And then Meganium comes, and we expect something big, but it's only changing its color again, and now there's a flower around its neck, and no leaf, just weird bug tentacles on its head. So yeah, that's what disappoints me about Chikorita. It has a potential to be a very cool Pokemon, but well, it's not. And Last Evolution's supposed to be cool. In the anime, Ash's Chikorita is annoying as hell, and when it evolves to Bayleaf, it's just a bit less annoying, but it's still annoying, so it doesn't give Chikorita some bonus points. Now, there is some saying that Meganium is a very good supporter Pokemon, and it's very good to have it as a Johto starter, but if you would have listened to the beginning of this video, you got that the starter Pokemon a lot of times is the most important Pokemon in the team. And when I choose a starter, I want it to be very dominant. I want it to be a strong Pokemon, not a supporter Pokemon, which basically all it does is poison and heal. So yeah, these are my problems with Chikorita. He's basically just a very disappointing design, and it's not strong enough. Number 13. Turtwig. Now, let's go over the concept. Turtwig is basically a grass turtle, and so is Grotle. He's just a grass turtle, too. And then Torterra, it is still a grass turtle, but now it's more like a dinosaur thingy, and it has a freaking continent on its back. So, the concept here is pretty good. Now, for the design, Turtwig is okay. He's a cute little turtle with a twig on his head, but Grotle is just awful. I mean, he looks like a bigger and an uglier Turtwig, and oh my god, the bushes on its back, they basically look just like the bushes. I mean, if you know what I mean. And it's just an ugly Pokemon. And then we come to Torterra, and I think Torterra's design is goddamn awesome. I mean, he does look like a kind of merge between a turtle and a dinosaur, and there is a continent on its back, like few trees, and there are some Pokédex entries that state that there are Pokemon that live their whole lives on a Torterra's back. So yeah, that is kind of awesome. In the anime, Ash's Turtwig evolves into a Torterra, and that is pretty cool. So now you must be asking yourself, if there are so much things good about Turtwig, why is he so low on the list? So now I'm going to explain why, and it's all about the game. Now, when I played Pokemon Platinum for the first time, I chose Turtwig. And why? Because I thought Turtwig is going to evolve to Torterra, which means a grass-ground dual type, which I thought is going to be pretty cool. Now, with Turtwig and Grotle, it was pretty tough trying to beat the gyms, so I pretty much needed a very good team besides him. And when it evolved into Torterra, well, my expectations just blew up. Because first of all, I thought because of its ground typing, it's going to have an effect on what fire does to it, because I thought if ground is super effective against fire, then fire is going to be not very effective against ground. So I thought he's going to resist. So I thought that would be cool. Like when I battle my rival with his Infernape, I could resist his fire attacks. But it did not happen, and well, I discovered Torterra is not a good Pokemon. Besides the fact that it's a grass type, so it still has flying and bug weaknesses, and fire of course. Its weakness to ice is doubled, and it's 4 times super effective, which is basically horrible. It does gain very minor positive things, like it's immune to electricity, but that is ridiculous because it was already not very effective while being grass type, and poison is now damaging it normally because the ground typing, but that's okay I guess. But again, I had high expectations from Torterra, and what I got is a not very good Pokemon. So these are basically the reasons why I'm disappointed with Turtwig. An ugly design for Grotle. I think the ugliest design for a second form in any starter, and a very disappointing last form. Number 12. Piplup. Piplup is a cute water penguin, and that's basically it. Prinplup is a cool water penguin, and that's basically it. That's basically the concept of these two. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Piplup's design is great. He's cute, and that is also a fine concept, a water penguin, why not? And then Prinplup is a very cool design. I like it very much. They're not amazing and they're not super creative, but whatever. And then we come to Empoleon. Empoleon has a very original concept. He is a water steel type, and he is actually, until Generation 5, the only water steel type in the whole Pokemon world, which is cool. Except of that, he is a freaking penguin emperor made out of steel, so that is quite cool also. But there was something in Empoleon that I just didn't appeal to me. I don't know, his design is, well, not appealing. I don't know, under that steel thingy they could have made him look more appealing. Now, in the games, when I played Pokemon Pearl for the first time, it was basically the first time I played a Generation 4 game ever, I chose Piplup because it's my tradition to always pick a water starter for the first time I play at any generation. And, well, it was good, but it was just not amazing. While I had a Piplup, his defense was horrible, and while having a Prinplup, he was good, but he was not something very special in the fighting area. And when I got to Napoleon, of course he was a fantastic defender, and now he's not weak to grass anymore, and he's resistant to 11 freaking types, which is awesome, and even immune to poison. It was still not a very overwhelming experience for me. I don't know why, but I just didn't find Empoleon to be a fantastic starter. I mean, Empoleon and Piplup. In the anime, Dawn has a Piplup. I didn't watch this season, and I basically got that Dawn's Piplup is cute and cool and whatever, so that gives him some bonus points. But still, my overall experience from Piplup is that it's a great starter, but there is nothing that makes him an amazing starter, if you know what I mean. He's just a cool starter. I love him, but he's not a special one. Number 11. Chimchar. What? We're already out of Sinnoh starters? Well, I knew these three are going to be next to each other, but I figured out their order only before making the video the list, because they are pretty close to each other. Now, Chimchar. He is a monkey, and we do have a big collection of monkey Pokemon, and we already have a fighting monkey Pokemon. Okay, so the design of Chimchar is quite simplistic. It's an orange monkey, and it has a tail on fire. Now, Monferno's design is okay. It looks like a phase between Chimchar and Infernape, so it is good, but I don't understand why the tip of its tail is on fire. That is just a ripoff from the Charmander line. And of course it is another firefighting type, the second in a row, but back then it wasn't that bad. And Infernape is quite awesome. Now the fire is not on his tail, it's on his freaking head. I have to admit, Infernape's design is awesome. So that basically makes him very likable. And the concept of the whole trio is again very basic. They are firefighting monkeys, so that is okay. In the anime, Ash's Chimchar has a very good backstory, with an abusing trainer, then going to Ash, then evolving to Monferno and Infernape, then beating Electivire in the Pokemon League in the clutch time. And I have to say, Infernape looks like a total badass, so that is big bonus points for this line. Now, the last thing about this line that gave it advantage over Piplup and Turtwig is his actual game power. What I mean is that I played with Turtwig and Piplup as starters, and it was quite tough. They are not the perfect starters. And Infernape, I just find him to be the most useful Pokemon out of the three. He is fast, he is very offensive, and he is basically very powerful. I basically enjoyed playing a Sinnoh game with Chimchar better than Turtwig or Piplup. That's all. Number 10. Bulbasaur. First of all, let's go through the concept of Bulbasaur. So we have a lizard-like creature with a bulb on its back, and we actually don't know what controls creature, if it is the bulb or the kind of lizard, and that is kind of cool. And then the concept carries through Ivysaur, and then the bulb opens and it turns into a flower, and then it is explained that basically the flower slash bulb is the thing that gets the energy to make Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, or Venusaur actually work. So that's a cool concept. Now design-wise, Bulbasaur's design is good, but then when we come to Ivysaur and Venusaur, not a lot changes. Ivysaur looks like a bit bigger Bulbasaur with two teeth, and now instead of a bulb, it has a flower on its back. And Venusaur looks like an Ivysaur that had gotten fat and grown. That's all. So design-wise, Bulbasaur is okay, but there is very little change between the evolutions. Ash's Bulbasaur is awesome though. I really liked watching Bulbasaur in the anime. They made him a good personality, and the only thing I didn't like about it is that it didn't want to evolve, but I can get that since Ivysaur and Venusaur are not very appealing. In the anime, Bulbasaur is great. Now in game, I never started with Bulbasaur, cause I never liked him way too much, and I think there are a lot of grass poison types, but I can agree that Venusaur is a pretty good grass type. So yeah, that's basically my opinion on Bulbasaur. It's a solid Pokemon, but I don't find it to be very special. Number 9. Snivy. First of all, let's start with the concept. Snivy's concept is pretty original. He is a grass snake. And you can see that through his evolutions, he starts to lose his hands, and that is like the evolution process of the snakes. If you look on the designs of the Snivy line, they're pretty okay. Snivy is a green snake with hands and legs. Then we have Servine, and he kind of loses his hands and legs just a bit. And then we have Superior, which has no legs, and he has little arms on his back. And they do look good. Just again, like the Bulbasaur line, there is just not way too much change between the designs of the evolutions. Although the designs and the concept are pretty good though. In the anime, Ash's Snivy is a little prick and everybody likes him, and blah blah blah. I did not watch the anime Nova, but Snivy seems like a cool Pokemon in there, so yeah, that's good. In the games, I find Snivy to be a very good Pokemon. Now, he is very fast, and he is only one of two grass starters to be fast. It has surprisingly good attack and defense, and has a very good moveset. So yeah, basically, Snivy is very similar in my opinion to Bulbasaur. Maybe it has a different role in the anime, but they're both grass types, and they both have cool designs and cool concepts. But I did find that I like Snivy a bit more than I like Bulbasaur. Number 8. Cyndaquil. Again, starting with the concept. Cyndaquil has a pretty cool concept. He is a mole, which usually a mole would be a ground type, but he is a fire type, obviously. And then when he evolves into Quilava, he's getting a bit bigger, and when he evolves into Typhlosion, he is a very big mole with fire on its back. Design-wise, I like Cyndaquil. He is small, he is cute, he has fire on his back, so that's cool. Quilava was one of my favorite Pokemon for a while because he has a very good design and he looks pretty awesome. Now Typhlosion, he looks even better. And there is not a lot much to say about them. They just look awesome. But with one flaw. The thing that I discovered that made their designs look so awesome is the fire. But what happens when there is no fire? Now, for this comes the anime, and ruined pretty much the Cyndaquil life for me. In the anime, and basically it's written in Pokédex centuries too, that the fire intensifies when they are ready to battle. But that doesn't mean they don't have to be fireless when they don't battle. That's just absurd, and they look like naked moles, and this basically takes all the charm off their characters. I just don't like their designs without the fire. They look half naked, and that is not good. Except for that, Cyndaquil's role in the anime and then later Quilava is okay. He's like the baby Pokemon for Ash, and well, it takes a while to train him, and I pretty much liked Cyndaquil in the anime, so that's okay. Now, in the games, Cyndaquil is probably the most popular from the second generation starters, and with good reason. Typhlosion is a pretty fast and powerful Pokemon, and that is basically what I like and dislike about Cyndaquil. It has a great concept, it has a great design with the one flaw of the fire, the missing fire on its back. He's good in the anime, and he is a pretty darn powerful Pokemon in the games. Number 7. Torchic. First of all, Torchic has a pretty original concept, a firefighting chicken, and I pretty much like it. Design-wise, all of the evolutions are okay. Torchic I mislike the most. It's only a chicken, and you can obviously see the fire element, but that's okay. I mean, it's not very good. Then Combuskin is pretty cool. You can definitely see the fighting and fire and chicken, and I pretty much like Combuskin's design. And then Blaziken is pretty awesome, and there is no other ways of saying it. He is awesome. In the anime, I don't actually remember what Torchic was, or did I think he was May's Pokemon or something like that. But that just only says I pretty much didn't like him in the anime, so that's not very good. And now we come to the games. And basically, Torchic is not a very useful Pokemon in the third generation. Now think, you're starting your adventure, and you're coming to the first gym, which is Rock type. And you probably haven't evolved your Torchic yet. And well, Torchic is pretty useless in this gym. And actually, Torchic and his evolutions are useful only in 2 of the 7 other gyms. In Watson's gym, when it is useful against Magnemite and Magneton, and in Norman's gym, against the normal types. And it is weak to the 3 last gyms, to the Flying, Psychic, and Water type gyms. Almost all of the game after beating Norman is Water type based. All of your enemies use Water type Pokemon, and that basically makes Blaziken pretty useless. So yeah, to sum up, I really like the concept and design of Blaziken, and that really plays a big part in me liking it, but it didn't have a very good role in the anime, and in the games it's pretty useless and you're better off with a Treecko or a Mudkip. Number 6. Treecko. The concept of the Treecko line is not very original. They are all grass tree geckos, and you can see that Treecko's name pretty much points that out. But I didn't say I don't like their concept, even though it's not very original, I do like it. The designs of the Treecko line are okay. Treecko is a cool looking sly lizard. Grovyle is a greener lizard that has a leaf on its head, and it has two cool leaves growing out of its hands like swords or something like that, so that's pretty cool. And Sceptile, he looks cool, and he has that tree growing instead of a tail, but I don't find his head shape very appealing. He looks too dark or something like that. There's just something not very appealing about his head shape. But pretty much I like the designs of Treecko and Grovyle. About Sceptile, I like his design a bit less. I do like Treecko in the anime, although he has a pretty good character. He is cool, and he evolves into Grovyle, then evolves into Sceptile, and has those failed romance stories with Meganium, so that is pretty cool, and I do give him bonus points for that. In the games, Treecko is pretty darn useful, exactly the opposite of Torchic. After you beat a Norman, the game becomes very water-based. Then a grass type is very welcome. Not to mention that the 8th gym and the champion are both water types. In Ruby and Sapphire, only the 8th gym is water type, but that is still pretty darn useful, and also Treecko is useful in most of the gyms. Besides, Sceptile is a very fast and powerful Pokemon, and it is very useful in the game. But the reason I like Treecko the most is actually pretty personal. I had an action figure of Treecko when I was little, and somehow I managed that it fell to the toilet. And since then, Treecko became one of my favorite Pokemon. So yeah, that is one of the reasons why I like him. Number 5. Totodile. First of all, the concept of the Totodile line is crocodiles and alligators, and where can you go wrong with that? That concept is absolutely awesome. For the designs, Totodile and Feraligatr look just awesome. Totodile is as cute as a first evolution should be, and I just love his design. There is not much to say about it. Feraligator's design is absolutely awesome, and he looks ferocious, and that is exactly how a last evolution is supposed to be. So design-wise, Totodile and Feraligatr are perfect. Then Crocodile has to ruin everything. Crocodile looks like an obese teenager version of Totodile, and that is just not good. He just looks awful. I don't get why they had to make him so ugly. There is no reason for that. Anyway, moving to the anime, I like Totodile's character there. He is Ash's Pokemon. He is naughty. He is a very cool and fun Pokemon. In the games, the Totodile line is good. Feraligatr is a pretty powerful Pokemon, and its stats are pretty balanced, although its speed could have been a bit better. Now the biggest drawback for the Totodile line is that in every Johto game you can find a red Gyarados, and red Gyarados is a stronger Pokemon than Feraligatr, and they're both water types, and usually people want to have that Gyarados on their teams, so that makes Feraligatr pretty useless, and in Crystal you can even catch Suicune in the game, so that pretty much makes Feraligatr even more useless. But except for that, I like the Totodile line very much. Number 4. Oshawott. Starting with the concept, Oshawott has a very interesting one. He is an otter, but not only an otter, he is also a samurai. That is a pretty original concept and a very good one. Now design-wise, the first time I saw Oshawott, I thought it was ridiculous. I thought it was a little ridiculous clown, and I didn't think that his design was good. After I played Pokemon Black, I discovered what a badass Oshawott is. His design is actually very cool, and this shell on its belly is a very interesting addition to the design. Duot's design I like a bit less, but he is still very cool looking, and it adds to the fact that he is a samurai-like creature. And then Samurott. Wow, who exactly expected that Duat will evolve into something like Samurott? There is only one word that can describe Samurott, and that is a beast. And also Samurott and Otter, but that doesn't really matter. Moving to the anime. Again, I don't watch the anime in Unova, but I got that Oshawott has a pretty cool personality in the anime, so that's good. Now, in the games, I started Pokemon Black and Pokemon Black 2 with Oshawott, and I had to say, this was awesome. I just love Oshawott. He has the signature move Razor Shell, which is pretty cool, and well, when you evolve him into Samurott, he is pretty slow, but he is still very powerful, and I like him very much for that. Think that Oshawott is a very awesome Pokemon, and well, he is definitely a surprising one since at the beginning I didn't like his design at all. Number 3. Charmander. Oh my god, Charizard is so overrated. I don't care if you think Charizard is overrated, he is awesome. Let's start with the concept. Charmander is a fire lizard. Charmeleon is a fire lizard. And then Charizard is a fire flying dragon. This is hands down the most awesome concept of any starter until now. I mean, there are turtles, samurais, lizards, and even alligators. But what could be more awesome than a freaking dragon? And actually, Charizard is not even my favorite evolution from the Charmander line. So let's see the designs. Charmander is a little awesome fire lizard. Basically not a lot to cover here. He has a very cool flame on his tail, that's basically it. And then Charmeleon. He is my second favorite second form of every starter. A bit complicated, but I think you understand. He has just an awesome design that represents exactly the stage between Charmander and Charizard. And now, a lot of times, the second form is the laziest. Look at Crocodile, for example. Now, Charmeleon looks awesome. Now he has those claws, and he has this horn on his head. Charmeleon is just an awesome design, and I love him very much. And then we come to Charizard. And again, what's not to like about his design? He's a dragon. Then we come to the anime, and Charmander has to be one of my favorite Pokemon in the anime. It begins with a heartbreaking story of an abandoned Pokemon who actually almost dies in the rain. And then Ash picks him up, and he has problems trusting his trainer since the last trainer abandoned him. And then because of that, when he evolves into Charmeleon and Charizard, he is being a dick to Ash. And that is another thing I like about him, that he is being a dick, and that is pretty cool. Charizard is the Pokemon that was in charge of Ash's defeat in the Pokemon League, and I just think that is freaking awesome. And then in the Orange Island saga, Charizard became friends with Ash, and that was cool too, but then he left him. And he left a huge gap behind him, leaving Cyndaquil as the fire type for Ash. And well, Charizard missing from the anime changed everything for me, basically. I just loved Charmander in the anime. Now in the games, the first actual time I started with Charmander was not long ago. After years of playing this game. And I have to say, he is not the perfect starter for a game like this, but Charizard is a pretty strong and powerful Pokemon, so there is not a lot to complain about. And again, that was my first Nuzlocke challenge ever. So he is my first starter at a Nuzlocke challenge, and that is pretty cool, and I will always remember that. Number 2. Mudkip. So yeah, I do like Mudkips. First of all, Mudkip's concept is pretty simple. Mudkip is based off a Mudskipper. Now let's go over the designs. Mudkip is definitely the cutest starter of all. There is not much to say about him except that he is extremely cute and well you can definitely see as a Mudskipper. Marstomp's design is meh, but Swamper's design is absolutely awesome. He doesn't look very pretty, but he looks like a Pokemon who does the job. Again, there is not much to say about the designs. They are all pretty simplistic, and basically the simplicity is what makes them great. In the anime, Mudkip and after that Marshtomp are Brock's Pokemon, and like most of his Pokemon, they don't have a very detailed personality. Now, in the games, Mudkip was my second starter ever, and it's always fun starting the game with him. I don't know what is the thing that makes Mudkip so special, but it is just so fun going through Emerald, Sapphire, and Ruby with him. I remember countless times before with my over-leveled Swampert and Rayquaza. And Swampert is a pretty good Pokemon too, even though he's a bit slow. Makes for a very good and powerful Pokemon. I just started these games so many times with Mudkip that it became one of my favorite Pokemons. And now, to number one. Number one! Squirtle! First of all, look at the concept. It's a turtle. That's basically it. Now the designs are pretty simplistic too. And well, that's it. Wartortle is my favorite design out of the three. He looks so awesome. Wartortle is my favorite second evolution of all starters. Like Charmeleon, his design is pretty simplistic, but has those little things that make him so special, like those wing-like ears. Wartortle for a long time was my favorite Pokemon. Don't know what's so special about him, but his design is so awesome. And now Blastoise, obviously he has an awesome design. He is a huge ass turtle with two freaking cannons coming out of its shell. And this is so cool. The designs again are simplistic, but the things that make them so special are those little details like the cannons or the ears or even Squirtle's tail. They just have a lot of charm. Now in the anime, Squirtle is again awesome. The only thing I was sad about is he did not evolve, but basically he had a very funny personality and he was a good Pokemon for Ash. And now, of course, the part that matters the most, the games. Squirtle was my first starter ever, and cruising the game with him was so fun. I cannot express how much fun it was just tanking all the Pokemon with my over-leveled Blastoise and defeating the Elite Four mercilessly. Like Mudkip and his evolutions, I cannot explain what exactly I like about Squirtle that makes him different from others. But what does is my own experiences. And well, maybe if I picked Bulbasaur first, I would have liked him the most, but I did pick Squirtle. And as my first starter, he is the most special one and the most memorable one. So yeah, my top favorite starter of all times is Squirtle.